Welcome to This Week in Anderson High School Sports here on ESP Media, powered by Sign Up Sports. I'm Jason Griefer. The boys are back in town. Chris Newton, Zach McCormick. Gentlemen, good to have you with us. Let's jump right into it because we got a lot to cover here. We kind of gave a preview last week of a really big event at Anderson High School, and that's the Win the Day event. And, of course, now that's coming up. We've got that coming up this weekend, as a matter of fact. So this is a very big deal in Anderson. I know we've talked about here on the show in the past. Newt, let me start with you. In a season where, we've talked in the past, like with the wrestling teams, you guys just want to walk in with your Ghostbuster suits on and just disinfecting everything left and right there. Take us through the logistics that you're going through right now and even leading up to the day of the event to make sure everything's executed in a safe manner.
Yeah, so it's been incredibly interesting, and Stacey Bailey, our head coach, has done a great job in assisting with the organization and lining everything up. And I think we have I want to say it's like 29 teams that are competing, but to different levels. And in years past, it didn't matter, if a team brought one gymnast or two gymnasts or three or eight. That didn't matter at all. We'd split up sessions and go from there. But now all this stuff matters because we have to look at, we want every parent to be able to come in there. And so now, Stacey Bailey did a great job with communicating with all the teams and finding out how many gymnasts are going to go. So then the process starts with Patty Sneed. Patty Sneed does all of our ticketing, and she's worked on that now for probably 4 or 5 days, just trying to get everything organized to send out to schools, just so they know, you have this amount of tickets and all that. So it's been incredible, the amount of work that goes behind the scenes. And fortunately, we've got great people around here and everybody's stepping up and doing it. But, it's our football team is going to help us set up the stuff on Friday. Our baseball team on Sunday helps us take it down. We couldn't go through the extent that we normally do. We normally get enough equipment for the aux gym so girls can warm up in there as well. But we can't do that because we really can't have the proper supervision. So, we're going to do the best thing for our kids and the best thing for the kids that come see us and their parents within all the COVID protocol. And we're very confident that the protocols that Zach and Stacey have put together, we're very confident that we're going to execute those and we're going to have a great day.
Speaking of great people around you, Zach, can you bring on somebody else here and fill in your spot? I'm just kidding. Let's yeah. You've had a lot obviously on your plate, and we've talked in the past about how you've handled a lot of the protocols on your side here. But I want you to kind of take us through the event itself here. And we talked last year; it was a really big day, for a Win the Day, and obviously, that's the whole goal of this thing for Anderson. And we've talked about some of the gymnasts that Maddie Bailey, Maddie Belcourt, now Abby Pitch. You finally, as you guys said, you were finally able to convince her to join the team, and she's had a really good start to the season there. How are they feeling going into the Win the Day event, and is it still the expectation from them to win it?
Come on now. They always want to win it.
My job's to lob the softball questions here. You just got to hit them.
Hey, come on. I'm trying to bring it home here. Absolutely, though, man. They're a very driven group, to be honest. They put in a ton of work. I mean, it stinks because here at Anderson, we see the majority of all of our teams at practice, and Newt and I try and go in and step in and see some of the practices every single day. But gymnastics is one of those that they practice off campus. So it's tough to see them all the time or as much as you want to. But we know the amount of time that they put into it. So there is no doubt in my mind that they're going to be prepared to go out there and try and take home the W, no doubt. But it's always nice when you got Abby Pitts, Maddie Bailey, Maddie Belcourt leading the charge on that. So I think we'll put ourselves in a good spot. It's senior night for us. So overall, it's just going to be a fantastic night. And we're hoping to honor those seniors the right way, the best way that we can within the COVID protocols, and put on a good show for everybody.
Let's touch on a senior from another athletic squad here, and that's your dance squad. Let's talk about Emily Schaefer. Obviously we've talked here on the show about the dance team, kind of in the same vibe as gymnastics. As hard as they're working, they're doing everything they can to make sure they're putting on routines that are safe. I know, Newt, you've talked in the past about them working on routines that we don't want to put out there publicly yet because we don't want to spoil the party for anybody or let anybody get an advanced scouting report. But Emily was named a ECC Athlete of the Week this week for everything that she does kind of on and off the floor. For those who don't know her, take us behind the scenes and what you know about Emily, the conversations you've had with her, and how important she is to the dance team.
Well, I mean, she's just a great leader and a great overall kid. She is constantly active, besides, dance here, dance studio. She works. She does incredible in the classroom. I mean, she is your all around young lady that you want representing, your athletic department in your school. And I very clearly remember her, coming in as a freshman. She's very well-rounded. She's a lacrosse player as well. And she just likes to be active and be around her peers, and she just likes to represent. And, she's got a younger sister who is following in her footsteps, and she's setting a great example, for her. But, and our dance, it goes, we've talked about that. I was up here a little bit on Sunday, and our dance team is cranking it out, in that gym, getting ready for the ECCs coming up this Sunday. And just to see the amount of time, effort, and most importantly, dedication to the sport that Shafe and her teammates put in, it's amazing. And but I think the best way to sum her up would be you couldn't find a better representative of the dance team, of the athletic department, and of the school. She's just a great kid.
And being well rewarded with being an ECC Athlete of the Week there. Let's move on. Let's talk about your academic quiz team right now. Currently tied for fourth in the ECC, tied with Loveland right now. They're going to take on West Claremont this week. You'll take on Loveland next week, at least as scheduled at this point here. And looking at the way this sets up, Zach, I'll start with you. Outside of a 2 wins over Winton Woods, West Claremont has been routed in every match they played thus far. They're 2-6, and Winton Woods has not won a match all year. So they're coming in 2-6, kind of struggling right now. Does that fact go into the team's preparation in a match like this, knowing they're going against a team that has struggled on the season? Or are they at the point right now where we're kind of mid-season? Let's just try and compete with ourselves and get better ourselves heading into the back half of the conference season.
Yeah, I mean, I think Greg Long does an incredible job of just trying to get better a little bit every day. And AQT is, I mean, Newt says it all the time. There's no defense there. I mean, you can click the buzzer faster, but it's really just working on yourself, making sure that you're studying, making sure that you're getting all the questions down. But I don't think it necessarily we're looking at the opponents and seeing who we got ahead. I mean, you always kind of know in the back of your mind who you have. But still, you're going to try and be the best version of yourself that day, and you're going to try and be the best AQT team member that you can be that day. So I don't think we necessarily are looking at them, but I think we're in a good spot right now. We're just going to try and get a little bit better every day, and the wins will come as we go with that.
Yeah, we like to have fun here on the podcast when we convene here every week. That being said, Zach, you brought up a good point. You can't necessarily play defense when you're in these AQT competitions here. You can only hit the buzzer faster. If you two were competing hypothetically and you could play defense, what would you do?
First off, I would never play defense anyways. I'm never known for my defense.
Okay, I'm glad you admitted that.
I don't know. I mean, I'll tell you what, though, last Wednesday, I walked in to the Learning Commons as we're getting ready for our wrestling meet, and we're trying to get back in between and watch AQT a little bit. And I walk in there, and Newt's just smiling. I'm like, man, what are you smiling like that for? He goes, dude, I knew 5 of those questions. Believe it or not.
Yeah, there you
I
go.
said, you're lying. What questions were they? He goes, they were all science, and I was a science teacher.
I played one for 21 years. Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
See? Now you got to catch up there.
He would take me to school, no doubt.
Jason, it was everything I could do to not shout out the answer so loud. I was
you biting.
I normally I just sit there and
cut your lip biting it.
Oh yeah, I twiddle my thumbs and I act like, oh yeah, I shake my head like, oh yeah, I knew that answer. I mean, I was like the first time ever, I was just like, oh my gosh, I know these, and it was hard. It was hard, but yeah, no, it would be fun playing Zach and in AQT because I was known more for my fouling than I was for my point scoring. So defense was really the only thing I could do. I could draw a charge, and I could do stuff like that. So it would be, I wouldn't score ever. So Zach would probably beat me 1-0, but it would be a good game.
Would you just take a soft drink can and just throw it at his buzzer and try and knock it out of his hand? Is that how you play defense? In that?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, we'd figure something out, but yeah, it would be fun.
Well, at least you're both willing to admit that, Zach, you don't play any defense, and Newt, defense is your specialty. But hey, 5 questions right when watching AQT, that's no small feat, and that goes to show how smart these kids are to be able to know all the stuff and then be able to recall it, at the snap of a finger. Those are a lot of fun to talk about here. And that's why I enjoy talking about them because, as we've talked about, in the past, it's not a sport that gets all the glitz and glamour and it maybe it's as tough it's tough. I think maybe tougher mentally than any other sport out there. Obviously every sport's a mental grind, but you're dedicating everything you have to the mental side. And these kids continue to deliver time in and time out and answer all these rapid fire questions. Have you guys made a pitch to get the sports category in there?
Oh yeah.
Do something about that.
Definitely. And, and it's funny too, because I mean, they're awesome kids. And I tell you, when Zach walks in or I walk in, they light up. They're so excited number one, they're so excited to play. They're so excited to represent the school, and they're so appreciative when we show up. And, Maggie and Sammy and Leah, the cool thing, they're so excited to, they want to show what they can do. This is their specialty and they want to show what they can do. And it's awesome cheering for them. But I will tell you this, Sammy knew of my passionate desire to have a sports category. So at halftime, the last week, she had mentioned, he's like, oh, Newt, sorry, Coach Newt, no sports category today. It's a bummer. And so she knows I'm dying to have one of those.
Help us out. Help us help you. Come on. Well, we're going to keep tab on that as we go along through the season. Zach, let's move on. Talk about your wrestling team. We've talked about some of the crazy things his guys have done this season. Sam Mizukawa, McLean Morency, they continue to, turn dudes and fold them up like Gumby, seemingly every time out on the mat here. So take us through what's coming ahead in the next week or so and how they're managing everything right now.
Yeah, so we got West Claremont today actually, so it's going to be awesome. But last week we had our first home match, which was awesome. We had Northwest, Madeira, and Fenwick, and it's just so fun because we don't really host that many wrestling matches, and they're so fun. And my favorite thing about them is just seeing how the team, rallies behind every kid who's on the mat, and I mean, it's just so genuine, and it's so fun to see the genuine happiness and cheerfulness that they're going for whoever's wrestling on the match, because you see how much time they put in and how close they really are. And it's a fun thing to watch. And Sam and McLean, I mean, obviously those kids are hammers out there. I mean, you never want to step up to the table and then see McLean or Sam right next to you. First off, they're shredded up, and then the second thought is they don't smile right away. So you're like, okay, and they're ready. And then all of a sudden they get twisted up in something. So we got West Claremont coming up, and then we have another home match next week. So we got a good little week coming forward for wrestling, and we're excited to get after it. And I can't wait to have them back here next week.
I do enjoy the fact that those guys are, as good as they are, and then they walk on the mat and they're not smiling either. And the old adage goes, you don't mess with a wrestler in any way, shape, or form, and they're proving that. So we'll be keeping a track on them, and we'll keep tabs on how they do there when we reconvene next week. Let's move on, and let's move into the pool. And the ECC championships for over the weekend. We do want to congratulate Sean Hartley finishing third on the diving board there. So, getting that medal there, that's a really good performance from him, and for your diving team performed very well. But swim team was in a bit of a bind here in the ECC championships. The standings show that they finished eighth, but a very unique scenario, and they were coming into this shorthanded. Newt, kind of take us through it.
Yeah, well, first of all, you're right. Our diving team. It was very enjoyable Thursday to go cheer for them, and our kids did a super job. Jacob Donahue, Ash Sudith, you mentioned Sean Hartley coming in third, Kate Rothfuss, and Kendall Peoples. They dove very well, and Sean coming home with third place, that's huge. But yeah, as for swimming, and everybody knows, it's no secret about the COVID protocols that we have to deal with. And, you see it in not only in schools and sports, but college sports and professional sports. And we had to make a very tough decision about some things on Saturday because of a kind of a timing issue with when we found out some stuff, and had to make a hard decision. And the support that the kids give us, our kids should have been steaming mad. Our parents should have been steaming mad.
Sure.
But the amazing support that our kids and parents have for us is incredible. And that was the difficult thing. We were able to have 7 kids go represent us at Anderson, and they did great. And I'm very proud of them. But I'm more proud of the kids that weren't able to go there because of the way they handled the adversity. And they're back in the pool right now because we had time to go and contact trace and do the right things that we need to do to make sure we're providing a safe environment for our kids. And instead of getting nasty emails and nasty letters and nasty texts, I'm getting, hey, Coach Newt, it's a bummer we weren't able to swim, but thanks for all you do. You get that stuff. It just not only shows the type of character that of our kid, but it shows the type of character that our parents and how they've been raised. And it was a very tough decision on Saturday, but we did the right thing, and our parents respect that. And our parents reward that with their comments. And I just can't tell you how impressed I am with our kids, our coaches, and our parents.
Yeah. Zach, you go into this, finding out relatively quickly before things get started, you're going to be shorthanded with the swimming team. You're only going to have 7 available. And it could have been, kind of to Newt's point, it could have been very easy for these kids and these parents to say, nope, we're not doing it. We're going to opt out. We're not going to worry about this. It's just not worth it. And to see them still say, no, we want to go compete. We know the odds are against us. We still want to go after this, and we want to try and put our best foot forward and represent Anderson as best they can. When they decided to do that and not opt out, which could have been a very easy and a very understandable thing to do, what was your reaction?
Very impressed. Just the maturity, and this is for our kids and also just all the student athletes all across the entire country, the maturity and the resiliency that these kids have this year to battle through this adversity. I mean, I think it's no secret that almost everybody all over the country has probably had some sort of pause at one time or another. and for them to kind of just always stay ready and stay mentally locked in has been, honestly, as tough as this year's been, it's been something very, very cool to see, because you see some kids mature so much.
Yeah.
And you see just, I mean, the level of focus that you have to have on a daily basis to know that any day could be potentially your last day for a couple weeks or so. But for Anderson specifically, it's just, it's incredible. And it just goes to show the leadership that we have. I mean, from Scott Prebles to all the way down to the leader of our building and Mr. Fellows, and Newt and all of our coaches. I think they just do an incredible job of preparing our kids for whatever is going to come. And it's been honestly very, very cool to see just how they've dealt with all this adversity and never let it stop them, and they just keep going forward. I'm super proud to be a part of that and kind of have a front row seat to watch it all.
Newt, let's talk about your girls basketball team. This was slated to be a week where it was going to be very busy, 4 games in 6 days, and now that's not going to happen. They're now going to get some time off here. Take us through kind of behind the scenes in so much as you can. What's going on here with the girls basketball team, and what's the next step for them as they look to finish the season?
Well, it's kind of the same boat with the girls basketball, and the fact of I want to say this is the 3rd or 4th time, and it's such, everybody knows it's just a difficult thing. I mean, as a kid, you don't feel well, you stay home. Your parents do a great job of keeping you home, and gosh darn it, you feel better, and you want to come back to school, and unfortunately, the way this crazy virus works, you just never know. And so unfortunately we've been put on the shelf here for this week, and you're all right. We had a game Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday that we're missing, but our kids will be back, and we're going to allow our kids to practice on Sunday, because then they're going to play on Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday of next week. And then they'll be ready for the tournament. And the maybe some out there don't know this, but so when you do get quarantined academically, you're out for 10 days. So you can come and you can come back and sit in English class and math class after 10 days, but athletically you can't come back till 14 days. So we do have some girls that are not quarantined. And so they'll be at practice, and I think yesterday we had 3 girls that were shooting it, and our coach was in there working with, 3 girls, and it was awesome to see them still get after it. So, our girls are texting us and asking us, well, Coach Newt, when can we get back? Well, here's the date when you can play. Well, can we come at least watch practice? So these kids know they're not allowed to touch a basketball. But what they want to do is they want to come and sit at practice. They want to be there with their teammates. They want to watch what's going on. And so when it's come time ready to play again, they're ready to go. And, again, you can't say enough great things about the type of character of our kids and our parents, but that's just another example. They want to put a mask on. They want to sit 6 feet away from each other. They want to sit there for an hour and a half and watch their teammates that are able to practice because they want to be a part of a team.
Yeah.
And so, that kind of bond is just undescribable. And when we come back Monday, we'll be raring to go, and, we'll be ready to play in this tournament.
Zach, over on the boys' side, they are slated to be in action this week as we record this on Tuesday morning. A pretty big week this week that could determine a lot of things as far as the conference goes. Later in the week, you've got the road trip to Lebanon. They've come into the ECC and they've made a really big impact in their first year in the league. But I would be remiss if I skipped over the fact that you have a monster one tonight against Bartels Road. And it as far as the conference standings go, it's as big as you could ask for at this point in the season. Your team is 6-2 in the ECC. They're 5-0 right now. They're the only unbeaten team left in the ECC. Lebanon and Sandwich right between. So this is a huge week overall. We'll talk about the grand scheme of things in just a moment. But first, now that we're getting this game in, Zach, between Anderson and Bartels Road, how does this matchup set up for your team?
Oh, it's awesome. I mean, to be able to actually play this game and just have both teams in the whole district and community kind of be involved in this, even though they all necessarily can't be there.
Yeah.
It's still huge because this is something that everybody in the community looks forward to, especially when we're 9-2 and Turpin's 5-0 in the league. So, I mean, it's going to be a fantastic basketball game. And I wish it was 7:30 p.m. right now. I honestly don't know what I'm going to do the rest of the day because I'm just going to be jittery like this, waiting to watch the game.
Decaf.
I've already need to put my coffee down. But yeah, man, tonight's going to be awesome. I'm super excited. It's always fun when you get to go against your rival. So it's going to be a big one for sure.
Just to make sure, where do your allegiances lie tonight? Because you're a Bartels Road Hall of Famer.
I'm bleeding out. This morning I brushed my teeth with orange face paint. I almost came in today all oranged up, but I don't think Newt would let me do that.
I definitely would, bro.
We're good. Okay.
Patty would laugh at you, though.
I'm going to mark that down somewhere. We're going to have Zach in orange face paint at some point here. Newt, he talked about the rivalry there with Bartels Road tonight, but as I also said, you've got the big one coming later this week at Lebanon. This is really shaping up to be kind of a make or break week as far as your team's ability to compete for that league title. You win these two games, you're right there at the season's end. If you come out this end 0-2, probably eliminates you from winning the conference title.
Yeah, and the great thing is, we've got a lot of seniors, and most importantly, we've got a coach that's been there and done that before, and Frank Brandy knows the importance of playing Bartels Road. He knows that how important this ball game is, but he also knows it's 1 of 22. Mm-hmm. So he's keeping them focused on today, but also, our kids know they got to play Friday. We can't go out and play the greatest game in the world against Bartels Road and win that game and then, not show up on Friday. So his preparation for these kids has been great, watching them in practice, and it definitely has been turned up a notch, and there's no doubt about it. We're going into a huge game tonight, and they are ready to go. There is no doubt about it. So our kids are ready. I got kids texting me over the weekend, Coach, can I get into the gym, get up some shots, and stuff like that. And so they want to make sure that they are ready to go, and it's exciting. And the bad thing about tonight is the simple fact that probably our gym would be, full of 1,450 people tonight if we were allowed. And, unfortunately, Zach and Patty and I, we've had to turn down people for tickets more than we've offered tickets tonight. And it's crazy. There's people coming out of the woodworks that want to come to the games. And it's a shame, Bartels Road is first in the league. Mm-hmm. We are 9-2. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is enormous.
Yeah.
And quite honestly, everybody wants to see it. And that's awesome. And that's been kind of frustrating because, the best night is when you have two student sections that are going crazy, cheering their peers on. And unfortunately, tonight it won't be that. So what our kids are going to need to do is just intrinsically be so motivated, and they will. There's no doubt about that. But it's a shame that we can't share that with all of our student body.
Newt talks about all of his struggles with trying to answer academic quiz team questions. Then he busts out the word intrinsically. I mean, I think, Zach, we might be being led on here a little bit.
He tries to fool everybody, but he can't fool everyone.
I get a vocab word of the month email every morning, and that was it today.
Dictionary.com. Thank you very much for that. Hate to cut it off there, gentlemen, but we are out of time for this week's episode. A lot of great stuff here, and we'll be keeping an eye on that basketball game and everything else that's going on here. We'll talk about Win the Day and how that turned out next week, and we'll assume that Anderson did indeed win the day. And when we'll be looking forward to it, guys. Appreciate the time.
Thank you so much,
Jay. Appreciate it.
That is Chris Newton and Zach McCormick joining us for This Week in Anderson High School Sports here on ESP Media, powered by Sidearm Sports.